Let me introduce you. This is my new wife.
I'd been hospitalized for a long time due to a serious injury. When I got home after being discharged, Brian suddenly said this to me. A new wife? My mind was in turmoil from the unexpected situation.
It means I'm divorcing you and marrying her.
Ryan gently pulled the woman closer to him as he said this. Standing next to Ryan was a young and beautiful woman. Despite her petite and slender figure, her belly seemed a bit protruded.
Notice anything? She's 6 months pregnant. She's carrying my baby.
Ryan happily stroked the lover's belly. My mind was in turmoil from the unexpected situation.
After all, you were just a defective product that couldn't get pregnant.
For someone like me, who had been undergoing infertility treatments for years, those words were like a knife to the heart. 6 months. That was the same period I had been hospitalized due to my accident. Who could have imagined that while I was in the hospital, he would move his lover into our home and even get her pregnant? What a hopeless situation.
Now, sign the divorce papers quickly. We want to be married before this baby is born.
There was no point in saying anything more to these people. I nearly collapsed on the spot, but my mom, who was beside me, supported me. Usually gentle, my mom, who had witnessed everything, glared at Ryan with a stern expression and said in a low voice,
You have no idea what you're doing. You will regret this.
Ryan ignored my mom's words and laughed mockingly with his lover. At this moment, Ryan didn't know that she had connections with some pretty powerful people. My name is Michelle Johnson, 37 years old. I got married at 29 and now support my husband Ryan as a housewife. Ryan is 2 years older than me and works for a company. I met Ryan when I was 26 after I joined an insurance company where he worked. Ryan was a successful insurance salesman and became my mentor when I joined. He taught me a lot about work and society with both kindness and strictness. Ryan, who was so excellent that he was repeatedly awarded within the company, looked very cool to me. It didn't take long for me to fall in love with Ryan. I was young, so I don't remember how much I pursued him. I worked hard to gain Ryan's approval and often invited him to dinner after work. Maybe he finally gave in, as Ryan eventually asked me out. 2 years later, at a restaurant celebrating our anniversary, Ryan finally proposed to me. I was so happy that I cried as I accepted his proposal. I was at the peak of happiness. But then, Ryan set a condition for our marriage.
You know my parents are divorced, right? My mom lives alone now. I promised her that if I got married, we'd live with her. Are you okay with that, Michelle?
Of course, she's your mom. Both of you are important to me. At that time, I was so excited to marry the man of my dreams that I didn't take living with his mom, Helen, too seriously. Soon after, Ryan and I got married, and living with Helen began. Right after our marriage, Ryan and I started planning for our future family. We tried to have a baby as soon as possible, working hard on it. But I didn't get pregnant even after 3 years. Our friends and colleagues who married after us were having children. I was getting anxious about my situation. Why can't I have a baby? Insurance salespeople have a lot of contact with families with children. I started to get scared of meeting customers who looked like happy families. I chose this job because I wanted to protect the happy futures of various people, but I was falling into self-loathing more and more. I couldn't concentrate on my work. This month, too, I wasn't pregnant and I was feeling down, which made Ryan frustrated. Sighing, he said to me in a dismissive tone,
Failed again. You should probably go to a doctor, right?
A doctor?
Yeah, a fertility clinic. They can run tests to find out why you're not getting pregnant.
Then you should come with me, Ryan.
I won't. I'm perfectly healthy. Plus, it's embarrassing. If we're not getting pregnant, it's probably your fault.
No way.
Mom also said she's sad. She can't see her grandchild. Don't make me sad too. So, go to the clinic as soon as possible. Got it?
Ryan spoke to me as if he were giving a lecture. Infertility is not just a woman's problem. It should be a 50-50 issue between men and women. Yet Ryan was convinced it was my fault and forced me to go to the doctor. I was anxious too, and I thought it might be time for tests. But it hurt that he spoke to me like that, even though I was also sad about not having a child. Afterward, I asked him several times to get tested together, but Ryan never listened. Reluctantly, I decided to go for the tests alone. When the results came back after all the tests, I was shocked. The cause of infertility was with me. The doctor gave me a complicated diagnosis. I didn't quite understand the term at first. When I asked for a detailed explanation, it seemed that my body had trouble developing the eggs necessary for pregnancy. The doctor said there was a chance I could get pregnant with treatment, but I was in a daze for a while. I barely remember how I got home from the hospital.
See, it was your fault after all.
Ryan said triumphantly, looking at the test results. Although a cause for my infertility was found, it shouldn't be the sole reason we couldn't conceive. Yet Ryan acted as if it had nothing to do with him.
Well then, good luck with the treatment.
Ryan placed a hand on my shoulder and spoke as if it were someone else's problem. I soon started treatment, but it wasn't easy. I had to adjust to my body's condition and go to the hospital regularly. I would be late for work or take paid leave to continue my treatment. However, my colleagues began to look at me suspiciously. I couldn't stand the scrutiny and decided to prioritize treatment and quit my job. Ryan was concerned about our reduced household income, but I assured him I would handle all the housework, and he agreed. I've been a housewife for 5 years now. During that time, we still didn't have a baby. The cost of infertility treatments kept rising. Ryan complained about taking the money from his income, so I dipped into my savings to cover it. Our efforts to conceive felt more and more like a routine, and we stopped talking about our future. On the contrary, he started staying out late, claiming it was for business meetings. I spent stifling days alone with Helen from morning till night.
8 years of marriage and still not a single grandchild. I must be the only one in this neighborhood without a grandchild. Are you defective? Ryan should have married a younger wife.
I'm sorry, Helen. Helen often made sarcastic remarks to me about not being able to get pregnant. She kept asking when she would see a grandchild, and I could only apologize. I was definitely exhausted, both physically and mentally. One day, while living such a life, things went from bad to worse. I was seriously injured in a car accident and rushed to the hospital. I was waiting at a crosswalk when I was hit by a car that lost control. Luckily, my life was not in danger, but I was suddenly forced into a long-term hospital stay. After my surgery, Ryan and Helen visited me, but instead of showing concern, they complained.
Having an accident at such a busy time, it's just going to cost us a lot of money.
Who's going to do the housework and take care of me? You're such a useless daughter-in-law.
Muttering to themselves, they left the hospital room and never visited me again. Having no other choice, I relied on my own mom. She took care of all my needs and handled all the paperwork. I felt guilty and apologized to her. "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm making you take care of me."
What are you talking about? Of course, I'm going to take care of my own daughter when she's in trouble. Don't worry about anything and just rest.
Hearing my mom's words, I almost cried. Lately, no one had been kind to me. Ryan and Helen had been constantly criticizing me, and I kept blaming myself for not being able to get pregnant. This is what a mom is like. I wish I could become a person like her. Touched by my mom's unconditional love, I thought about this. 6 months after being hospitalized, my treatment and rehabilitation were progressing well, and talk of discharge began. In the end, neither Ryan nor Helen visited me even once. Can I really go back to that house and make things work? The thought of life after discharge made my chest tighten.
What's wrong?
Noticing something was off, my mom looked at me with concern. Nothing. But I couldn't fool my own mom.
If you're worried about something, you can tell me, but if you don't want to, that's okay too.
Her kindness made me tear up. I ended up venting to my mom about my relationship with Ryan and our life with Helen before the accident. About how I was the one undergoing fertility treatments. About how I was worried about our finances. About how Ryan had become colder and Helen's constant sarcastic remarks about me. I had kept quiet to avoid worrying my mom, but once I started talking, I couldn't stop. Tears naturally fell from my eyes. My mom quietly held my hand and listened until I finished. "Sorry to suddenly dump all this on you. I just didn't want to worry you."
It's okay. You've been going through so much pain.
Honestly, I'm not confident I can get along with Ryan and Helen once I'm discharged. But the reason for our problems is that I can't have children, so I haven't been able to express how I feel. I looked down as I said this. The truth is, I no longer wanted to live with Ryan and Helen. But I felt responsible for our strained relationship, so I couldn't say anything. If only I could have children. But there was nothing more I could do. After a moment of silence, my mom let go of my hand and slowly walked to the window of the hospital room. She started speaking shockingly while looking out at the cloudy sky.
There's something I've never told you. I'm not actually your grandparents' biological child.
What? I was so surprised by this sudden revelation that my tears stopped. My mom's parents, my maternal grandparents, had already passed away. For the first time, I learned that my mom was not the biological child of her parents.
My real parents fought all the time. I was so scared that I always hid in the closet. Eventually, they started pushing my care onto each other, and there were days when they wouldn't come home.
That's exactly neglect. Mom said she was a victim of what we now call neglect. No way. So, Grandpa and Grandma?
They felt sorry for me and took me in as an adopted child. So, I have no blood relation to them.
Why are you telling me this important story now?
Grandpa and Grandma were very close, weren't they? They respected each other as a married couple, and I was happy to be their child. That's when I realized that even if you're related by blood, if a couple can't respect each other, they can make their child unhappy.
Mom turned her gaze from the window back to me and said this as if to make me understand. Her words struck me. A couple that can't respect each other. That was exactly the situation with Ryan and me. For 5 years, I had thought that because I couldn't get pregnant, I was inferior to Ryan. If what my mom said was true, If my relationship with Ryan remained as it was, even if we had a child, we might still be unhappy. I thought about it for a while, then gathered my courage and turned to my mom. Thank you, Mom. I'll talk to Ryan. After I'm discharged, I'll stay at your place for a while, but I plan to return to the house soon.
Okay, I won't oppose your decision, but when you go back to their house, I'll come with you to apologize for the inconvenience. I'll always be on your side.
The conversation ended with my thanks, and we never brought up the topic again. A few days later, my discharge was decided. I sent Ryan a message on my phone about the discharge date, but he didn't reply and didn't show up on the day either. He never visited me until the end. My hopes were dashed, and my long hospital stay finally ended. I went back to my parents' house with my mom, sorted my things, and continued my rehabilitation for about 3 days. Since my dad had already passed away, my mom took care of me just like she did when I was in the hospital. It felt like I was a child again, but I couldn't let myself get too comfortable in the familiar atmosphere of my parents' home. I sent Ryan a message saying I would go home the next day, but it still went unread. The next day, I visited the house where Ryan and Helen lived with my mom. When I was hospitalized, the leaves on the trees were green, but now they had turned red. 6 months was a longer time than I thought, and it was natural for nature to change. Thinking about this, I rang the doorbell. But it wasn't just the leaves that had changed. Yes, a beautiful young woman, neither Ryan nor Helen, came out of the house. For a moment, I wondered if I had the wrong house, but then I saw Ryan come out behind her, and I realized I was at the right place.
Michelle, what are you doing here?
What do you mean? This is supposed to be my home too, but who is she?
Oh, let me introduce you. This is my new wife, Mary.
My mind was in turmoil from the unexpected situation. A new wife. Ryan gently pulled Mary, the woman he called, closer and lovingly stroked her belly. Despite her petite and slender figure, her belly seemed a bit protruded. I looked at Ryan with a shocked expression.
She's 6 months pregnant. She's carrying my baby.
No way.
Ryan, is this the useless wife who couldn't work or have kids you told me about?
Hey, Mary, don't say that. Even if it's true.
Ryan and Mary laughed at me mockingly. Then Helen came out from the back and joined the conversation.
So you finally got out of the hospital, but it's too late now. You can't do the housework, take care of me, or give us a grandchild. You're useless. A young wife is much better.
Absolutely. What a hopeless situation.
I was about to collapse on the spot, but my mom supported me.
When I looked at her, she gave me a serious look. I steeled myself and decided to probe Ryan for the unwanted truth. You said 6 months earlier. Does that mean you started cheating as soon as I was hospitalized?
Yeah, she's my colleague from work. She approached me while I was mentoring her. How could any man resist such a beautiful woman?
We've been seeing each other for about a year. It was perfect timing that you got hospitalized. We saw each other every day.
So Ryan had been having an affair with Mary at work and got her pregnant while I was hospitalized. Ryan and Mary spoke without any remorse. Helen was also in agreement with them.
Ryan doesn't need a wife who can't get pregnant. A young woman is better for his future.
That's how it is. I have money, so I'll pay you alimony or whatever. Just sign the divorce papers quickly.
Ryan said this, bringing out prepared divorce papers from inside the house and thrusting them at me. His section was already filled out. What exactly did I come here for today? I thought I wanted to talk about our future. The situation was so absurd that I was dumbfounded. But I realized that nothing would change now.
Come on, sign the divorce papers quickly. We need to submit our marriage papers with Mary. We want to be married before our baby is born.
Michelle, I'd like to ask you too.
As long as I can see my grandchild, I don't care. Hurry up and divorce Ryan.
Pressured by the three of them, I finally made up my mind. With a trembling hand, I took the divorce papers and signed them on the spot, handing them back to Ryan. I'll come to get my things later. Thank you for everything up until now.
Yes, now we can be a family. Let's be great parents together.
Mary, sorry to keep you waiting. Let's build a happy family together.
Ryan and Mary hugged each other happily. Those were the words I once wanted to hear. Words that I would never hear again. I glanced at the two of them and was about to leave. Then, in a voice I had never heard before, my mom growled at Ryan.
You don't know anything, do you? You will regret this.
Huh? What are you talking about? The only regret I have is marrying Michelle. What can you do? Your bitterness is pathetic.
How dare you call Michelle defective and marry her off to us? You're not involved anymore, so get out of here.
Fine. We'll leave now. Goodbye.
Ignoring the insults from Ryan and Helen, my mom pulled me out of the house. My normally gentle mom had rarely shown such a stern expression, even looking back to my childhood. I was surprised to see this rare side of her and let her lead me out. A few days later, my divorce from Ryan was finalized. It was Ryan who filed for divorce. He even took a photo of the acceptance receipt and sent it to me as a message on my phone. Thus ended my 8-year marriage. A month after our divorce, while relaxing at my parents' house with my mom, my phone suddenly rang. The screen showed Ryan's name. Wondering what it was about, I answered the call.
Hey, what the hell have you done? Get over here right now.
The moment I answered, Ryan yelled at me. His voice was filled with both anger and panic. The call ended after those words. I told my mom what happened, and she suggested we go to Ryan's house together. To ensure nothing went wrong, I contacted the lawyer who helped with the divorce, and fortunately, he agreed to accompany us. The three of us, my mom, the lawyer, and I, visited my former in-laws' house for the first time in a month. When the door opened after I rang the intercom, Ryan immediately grabbed me.
Hey, explain this. You've ruined our lives.
Just when my grandchild is about to be born, what's going on?
Helena appeared behind Ryan, yelling at me as well. Ryan's new wife, Mary, glared at me, holding her big belly. When I asked what was going on, Ryan, irritated, began to explain.
Our affair got out and spread throughout the company and even on social media. Customers have been calling the company with complaints, and my clients want to cancel their insurance contracts.
Ryan has been demoted to a low-paying department. I got fired from the company. How are we supposed to manage without money when the baby is coming?
Why did this blow up so much? You must have done something.
Ryan and the others explained the situation furiously. I was surprised that so much had happened in less than a month. My mom and I exchanged a knowing smile. I wondered if the three of them would be even more shocked when they heard the truth. Imagining their reactions, I looked forward to the upcoming events. This was the beginning of my revenge. I didn't do much. I just made a phone call.
A call? To who?
to your company's chairman, Mason.
Mason?
Ryan was stunned to hear the unexpected name. No wonder the chairman rarely appears at the company, and regular employees never have the chance to meet him. Moreover, only executives would know his contact details.
Don't lie. How could you contact Mason?
Do you know the chairman's name?
What? The chairman's name?
It's Mason White, right? I remember from the induction ceremony.
That's right, Mason White. He's my biological brother.
What?
Really?
No way.
Ryan, Helen, and Mary were stunned, unable to believe it. It seemed their brains were refusing to process the shocking revelation from my mom. Yes, the truth was that the chairman of the company where Ryan and Mary and I used to work was my mom's biological brother. In other words, my blood-related uncle. My mom's biological parents had another child. When my mom was adopted, that child was taken in by the White family, who had run an insurance company for generations. That was Mason. I only found out about this a month ago. When my mom revealed this to me, I probably had the same expression as these three did now.
My adoptive parents said they wanted to take in my brother too, but since the White family were distant relatives, the connection wouldn't be completely severed. I asked them to take my brother to a well-off family.
You've got to be kidding. Michelle never mentioned anything like this.
It's all true. You never expected me to have any connection with the chairman, did you? I used that connection to inform him of your affair.
What? You told Mason?
There were rumors about inappropriate behavior in the conference room late at night and misuse of company expenses. When I informed him of your affair, he said he'd make a comprehensive judgment based on your past conduct. And as a result, you received this punishment, didn't you?
Just so you know, I wasn't the one who spread it on social media. Someone in the company who loves gossip probably leaked it to an influencer.
No way.
The faces of Ryan, Helen, and Mary turned pale as they realized my connection to the chairman. Ryan and Mary looked absolutely devastated. Ignoring them, my mom approached Mary and whispered words that froze everyone in place.
By the way, my brother mentioned that a few company executives and managers will be dealt with next. The reason is infidelity. It was discovered in an internal audit that they all had relations with the same woman. Who could that be, I wonder?
Is that...
What? Is it you, Mary?
Mom didn't respond to Ryan, but smiled and stepped away from Mary. Her smile was as good as saying yes. Seeing this, Ryan and Helen grabbed Mary, half crazed.
Mary, you had relations with others besides me? Answer me.
And the baby you're carrying is really Ryan's, right? You know what'll happen if it isn't, right?
The truth is, I don't know whose baby it is. But Ryan, you said it yourself. Michelle is defective and can't get pregnant, and the fact that I'm having a baby makes you happy. So this baby must be yours.
Are you crazy? We're getting a DNA test right now. If it's not mine, we're divorcing immediately. I won't be fooled by a woman like you.
No.
Enough of this nonsense. Ryan, what kind of woman did you bring here?
The newly formed family was now in a fierce argument, hurling insults at each other. I watched as they quickly fell from heaven to hell. There was no point in staying any longer. I signaled my mom, and we turned to leave, reaching for the front door. But a hand grabbed my shoulder, stopping me. Ryan shouted,
Wait, Michelle.
The grip on my shoulder hurt, and I winced, but the lawyer who had come with us brushed his hand away. Ryan, seemingly out of his mind, started saying something ridiculous. Mary was crying with her face in her hands.
Michelle, let's start over. We've both worked hard. I'm sure you can get pregnant. Don't abandon a pitiful man like me who was fooled by a lying woman.
Honestly, this young girl is pregnant but can't do housework or take care of me properly. I'm fed up. You were much better at her. I'll forgive you if you come back now.
Ryan and Helen's attitudes were beyond belief, and their excuses were even more astonishing. Finally, I couldn't hold back my emotions any longer. Shut up. Do you remember the horrible things you said to me about pregnancy? How can you expect me to be family with you again? I don't care what happens to you anymore.
Michelle,
I was going to forego alimony for the sake of the baby, but not anymore. I'm demanding alimony from both Ryan and Mary. Can I do that?
Yes, absolutely.
The lawyer beside me confirmed immediately. Ryan panicked and started pleading.
wait. If we remarry, there's no need for alimony, right? Please reconsider, Michelle.
What are you talking about? How could you even think about remarriage in this situation? Are you insane?
I've heard the entire story, and there's nothing favorable for Ryan here. You can't avoid paying alimony.
By the way, Mason left a message. Ryan wasn't fired to ensure Michelle gets her dues. He wanted to make sure she wasn't left in a difficult position. And he said that you're a disgrace to the company, so you'll be stuck doing menial jobs. If you refuse to pay the alimony, you know what'll happen.
We bombarded Ryan with our words. Finally, he collapsed to his knees, stunned. Helen made incoherent noises, and Mary continued to cry. It was a scene from hell. Ignoring their plight, we left. It's been 3 years since then. I'm still living with my mom in my childhood home. Life is simple and peaceful.
By the way, the lawyer mentioned something.
My mom suddenly recalled as we were having breakfast, like always. Listening to her, I felt a bit conflicted. 3 years ago, Mary was dragged to the hospital by Helen for a DNA test on her baby. The test results showed that the baby wasn't Ryan's. Enraged by this, Ryan and Helen kicked Mary out before the baby was born. Mary had no choice but to rely on the real father of her child. However, he had a family of his own and didn't acknowledge the baby. Mary ended up moving from place to place. Even after the baby was born, her unstable lifestyle continued until she could no longer take care of the child. Eventually, the baby was placed in a foster home. Children born to parents who can't respect each other end up unhappy. I remembered those words my mom once said. I felt sympathy for Mary's child, whom I'd never met. As for Ryan, he still works at the same company, but feels out of place as colleagues gossip about him. My uncle told me that Ryan spends his days working silently in a dim room to pay the alimony. After my mom finished talking, a brief silence filled the room. The fresh morning breeze blowing through the window cleared the heavy atmosphere.
Michelle, don't you have a meeting this morning? Are you on time?
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I have to go now. I grabbed my bag and hurried out of the house. Through my uncle's introduction, I've been working at a new company related to insurance for the past 2 years. My previous skills and qualifications are useful in this job. Although my colleagues expect a lot from me, I'm doing my best every day to meet their expectations. I couldn't have children. But now I'm not fixated on that and am living life true to myself. Shaking off the memories of those stifling 8 years, I ran towards my workplace.